Welcome back, episode 9. Brace the hammer. We're back. We're down 1. We're missing Charlie Walsh. He is currently sleeping, so he can get up early and go attend the West Ham home match tomorrow. But we have our buddy Tom, who's a champ. Staying up late. I think it's, what time is it for you right now, Tommy?
1:45 in the morning, and I'm leaving and I'm 1:45, 1:45, and I'm leaving in 2 hours to go to London as well to meet said Charlie Walsh for full English breakfast. So
nice,
exciting times.
What a champ! Look at you here with us while Charlie's probably sleeping.
Slacking.
So,
when you see this, Charlie, you're a slacker.
Yeah, big time. Big time. But you know what, Tom? And it's not for want of trying, lack of trying. You have actually also pulled off the victory for this week, and I feel like this is why you really stayed up, is to just gloat a little bit about how you massacred everybody. I think you only got 2 games wrong.
Yeah,
unbelievable. It's just not fair.
I had a couple of score predictions as well. I think
you did. You did. Yeah. Nobody even came close. I actually came in dead last. I don't know. I went on a 6-week streak, and now I can't catch a break. But that's okay, because it's a brand new week, brand new scores, brand new matches, and I'm excited. It's going to be an exciting week. We have Man City and Arsenal, which is going to be insane. All right, Georgia, put the shirt down. Relax. Man City again going to be without Fernandinho. They're going to be without Sergio Aguero, Vincent Kompany, and now Gundogan's going down with a ligament injury. But on the flip side, Arsenal, I believe, is still without Cazorla indefinitely. Debuchy and Mustafi are still out.
Yeah.
An Arsenal expert, the one, the only, Georgia. Go for it.
I'm not very happy about Mustafi because the only 2 times since he first started against Southampton, we've lost both games. So the midweek game was not that great. We were up 1-0 against Everton off an Alexis free kick, or off more of a deflection, and then conceded 2. Everton outplayed us for much of the game. But as Wenger said in his post-match press conference, it's not about losing. You can always lose one. We had won. Yeah. Sorry? Did you say something? Hello?
Georgia?
No, sorry.
Yeah, it just went dead.
Yeah, edit that out.
This is what happens when Charlie's not here. You see the chaos is divulging into.
No, but yeah, not a great week for us. Beat Stoke 3-1, which is kind of a mental hurdle because we haven't had the easiest time against them. And that game we came from behind as well. We were down early thanks to an awful penalty call. I don't know how awful it was because I just don't know how to judge those. He wasn't tackled. He was kind of like elbowed. Joe Allen was, and then Charlie Adam, the 65-year-old, he scored. But we dug deep and we came back. But quite the opposite happened in midweek because we took the lead early and then collapsed. Everton outplayed us. What can I say? It was pretty much by like the 80th minute you could tell that another goal was coming. I didn't know if it was going to be Ashley Williams or not, but he's had our number for the past couple of years. The last time he scored back in March was when he was with Swansea.
At the Emirates.
At the Emirates, yeah, he scored. He took the lead in like similar fashion off a header, and actually it wasn't I don't know if it was a header or it was off a corner for sure. I remember that. But yeah, he took the lead for Swansea 2-1. Similar thing. This past Tuesday he was the one who gave up the early goal. Alexis's free kick deflected off him and then went in, but it was just all a bit frustrating to watch.
What do you think? Like last week, do you think Arsenal played poorly, or do you think Ross Barkley just like went to a new level that match? Because I don't feel like Arsenal played bad. Like I watched the highlights, like not just the 4 or 5 play highlights. I watched the quick version of the game. where they speeded up within like 20 minutes. But they didn't seem like they were playing poorly. I just feel like Everton really got their shit together. They were at home, and it just seemed to be working for them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what happened. We took the lead early. The crowd was quieted, and everything seemed to be going in our favor. But by halftime, I was a few minutes before halftime, I was watching the game with one of my friends, and I was telling him if we get in to the if we get into the tunnel with a 1-0 lead, we have this game in the bag. But obviously we conceded off a Leighton Baines free kick, and Seamus Coleman of all people putting in a header past Petr Cech, just unforgivable. The defense was static when that cross came in, and it was almost the same on that corner, on that Ashley Williams corner. It was just you could from like the 35th minute onwards, you could tell that an Everton goal was imminent at every point. Arsenal didn't look fluid. There was a chance at the start of the second half where Mesut Ozil should have put the game to bed. But yeah, the game didn't have a good feeling to it, if that makes sense.
You know what I think happened? This is what I think happened. I think Ross heard from the media and various other sources that there's a chance he could be going to play for Tottenham in the next few days. And he was like, you know what? I'm really into that idea. I'm going to step up my game, really make them take notice. And that's what I truly believe happened. He wants to be a midfielder in North London, except the other North London. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
the working theory.
Yeah, it was a very frustrating game to watch. Like I said, it was not something I'm accustomed to this year, especially because we played so well. I tried to withhold my judgment because this was a team that had won or had been unbeaten in 15 games in the league, and the only game they'd lost was to Southampton in the cup, or in the lesser cup, nonetheless. So it's not about one game dropped. It's about how you respond, and what better stage to respond than Man City. So that's what Wenger said in his post-match press conference. Bellerin being back is great, but I think as John likes to call him, overrated. But I think Mustafi not being there is also very it's just detrimental because he, especially after the comments that he made about how much he puts into his performance on the pitch. He said that the fans, they pay a lot. We get paid to do this. The fans, they pay money out of pocket to sometimes travel, come to these games. So there's no excuse for not putting your best on any given day. And how unlucky for him to pick up a hamstring injury in the following game. But Man City, the one thing that I think the one thing going for us is that Man City's defense is absolutely awful at the moment, and they're missing Fernandinho, who's kind of their shield in front of the back four. Because John Stones and Nicolas Otamendi, they really look out of place, and they're fullbacks. I love Sanya. He's put in a good 8 years at Arsenal.
What happened to Otamendi?
I don't know.
I think he's like 32 or 33 now.
Is he old? Is he that old? I think he's more like 28 or something. But I think that Otamendi was. You know what's even funnier? Otamendi and Mustafi were both. He's 28 actually. I just looked this up. He's 28, and Otamendi and Mustafi were both center back partners at Valencia. So you can see one's doing very well, one's not doing that great. But I think John Stones is really caught out of place. I think he's just not up to par, and Pep needs to go out and find something better.
Is this another case of overhyping a young English player and then he doesn't live up to it, or is it because he's still very young?
Here's the thing, right? Because we thought that Raheem Sterling, when he went to Man City, we all thought that he was overhyped, but then he's played really well this season. So I think it's all about learning Pep's system, because I do think that Pep is a very, very talented coach. I think he's got some great tactics in mind. He implements them. He's a bit stubborn, so he reminds me of Wenger, but I think that Stones hasn't really bought into Pep's philosophy yet. But I think he should, if I'm speaking from devil's advocate here, I think he should really buy into what Pep's philosophy doesn't do. He's just been all over the place, hasn't he? Like, I mean, that
Well,
Leicester.
Pep's always been as big as his own critic, right? At Barcelona, everybody said, "Oh, you got lucky. You inherited a Messi and all these other and Xavi and everybody." He was like, "All right, I'm going to go to Bayern and build a team there," and he did. And then people were like, "Wow, this Bayern team was like massive." And well,
there's not really a team to build at Bayern, is there? I mean,
right? No, you don't, and that's the thing. And now he was saying, "Oh, I want to go to Man City and show my worth there," but. He even said that this. I think he joked around and said we're more of a mid-table team when they were like at top of the table.
Yeah,
I guess obviously he's kidding, but I think he knows they have weaknesses. I think that back line is definitely something that he knows is a problem.
Some of the decisions are like bringing in Bravo over the summer, in during the summer transfer window. I think that was like, what is Bravo doing?
I'm gonna hand that over to Tom for a second. Tom, I've been for 8 minutes.
I've waited. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of things wrong really with City this year. I think they've spent too much money on centre backs that haven't worked. If you think 2 players that they've bought, Otamendi and Mangala, and although Otamendi's had his high moments, and he scored at Old Trafford in the derby last year, and he put in a man of match performance, and you can argue that he's been okay now and again, but I just think without Vincent Kompany, both like a real leader at the back, I think that Stones and Otamendi, they just look like a pair of rabbits caught in the headlights. And I can't but understand for the life of me why they have still not tried to improve on their right back and left back spots. They've still got Zabaleta, who, although, yes, I know he scored the other day against Watford, but he is awful. He's slow. He's just not up to the speed of the Premier League. And it's crazy because a couple of years ago, he was probably the best right back in the Premier League.
It's crazy that they play such a high line with a back four that just they seem a little bit lost at times. But they're pushing so far ahead. Any counter, they look like they don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think it's strange to see that that's not one of the positions they've improved in, but it seems like, no, we wanted more attackers. We want more attackers, we want the headline signings. And I think, like Shaw just said, I think it's crazy that they brought in Claudio Bravo, who, yes, may have been all right in La Liga, and he'd done all right at Copa America, but Chile. He also looks like a rabbit caught in the headlights in the Premier League. He's been woeful. And all right, yes, you get better distribution from him out from the back, but I think you lose in Joe Hart what you get in shot stopping, because Joe Hart is an incredible keeper. I remember watching Man City away to West Ham last year, and it was a free kick from Payet, and Hart made a wonderful save. He's so athletic, Hart, and he's a fantastic shot stopper, and I just don't think Bravo possesses that trait. But like you said, you get a bit better distribution from him. As for Arsenal, I think having Bellerin back is a massive boost. He offers them a bit more width down the right-hand side, which they were, even though they beat West Ham 5-1, they were very central. All the goals, nothing came in from out wide. They were very central. And I think having him back in that team allows that width that they have. I think Mustafi is a big loss. And I think really, it just, Mesut Ozil more than anything just went missing against Everton the other day from what I saw of him. And I think in the games where he goes missing, it's a lot like West Ham in that respect. I know we don't have the world-class players other than Payet to back it up, but if Mesut goes missing, I think they lose a lot of things. They lose a lot of fluidity and a lot of production. And unfortunately for them, Sanchez, although he scored with a deflected shot, he couldn't bail them out in that respect. And a shout out to Ashley Williams, who completed the worst 90 seconds of football I've ever seen by crunching his own teammate, scoring an own goal, and then scoring the winner. So yeah, it was a good night for him. But yeah, I think this game is if Mesut Ozil shows up and Sanchez comes to party, I think Arsenal win 2-1. But going off of the fact that Man City are at home, I'm going to say 2-2.
I actually, to play off your draw, I think your first score was more accurate. So I actually went with 2-1 Arsenal. I don't, and I hate picking them to win, especially against the quality side. I just think there's too many injuries. There's just too much confusion, and there's not a lot of not enough creativity. They're playing too much of a high line. I just don't see this going well for Man City, and so I have to just to reclaim my stake, I'm going to go 2-1. Georgia, I don't think I actually got a score from you.
No, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention right before giving my scoreline is that I think that Pep was a little too aggressive in taking out some of the real like leaders in the team. I think that he dropped Sergio Aguero for a bit there, which was not a good call at all. And then he's
been suspended for half the season. I don't think he dropped him. He's just been suspended for about 7 of the games.
But also, like, he hasn't played him in every game, which I don't know what the thinking behind that is. But also taking out someone like Joe Hart, who's been a staple in that side. Whatever he lacked in quality, he sort of like his leadership and his communication through the back, from the back. I think that really helped stabilize Man City's defense, whatever it was. So taking him out and bringing on someone like Bravo, who's a newcomer, it's going to take just a little bit of time to gel, and that's just my theory. But I think we're going to concede. I'm going to say 3-1 because I just don't think without Fernandinho, I think that back line is very susceptible to someone like Alexis running at them. Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain, they didn't play well against Everton, but I think they're gonna rebound. Walcott has shown that resilience where he puts in a bad performance, he comes back and proves his doubters wrong. Oxlade-Chamberlain's just been on his game. I think, although I do think that Iwobi should start because I think that Iwobi, he wasn't great against Everton. I mean, no one really was good against Everton, but he brings a bit of wide creativity. Whereas Walcott's someone that will run directly at you. I think Iwobi does a lot more with the ball, dribbles a little bit, and I say the same with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on the other side. So yeah, I think 3-1. I think we have enough firepower to put 3 past Man City, especially against that defense.
I think.
But we will.
Go on. Sorry.
No, that's just we will concede. I think the trend is that we'll concede. Yeah.
I think it's interesting to see for Pep really, because although I think yes he is a world-class man manager, I think people want to play for him. I think George made a great point that although Sterling was worth 50 million, I think it almost took the right manager to get the production out of him. I think it probably almost is the same with Memphis Depay over at Man United. I don't think he's had the right managers for him yet, but I think given the right manager to play under that gives him the motivation to want to play and succeed, I think he's someone that can succeed. Just using him as an example, but you could see the likes of players like Pep Guardiola has turned Jerome Boateng into a world-class centre-back. Obviously that was the position he used to play. He's turned him into a world-class ball-playing centre-half. He turned Mascherano from a defensive mid into a world-class ball-playing centre-half. And I think the same thing can be done with Stones, but I just think for Pep, he's suddenly realising that it isn't down in the Premier League. It's not down to just 2 games a season against Real Madrid home and away and against Dortmund home and away. And I think he's learning to struggle with that because he's going away to places like Leicester. Although they were champions last year, yes, they've struggled and he's getting battered 4-2, or he's going away in the Champions League, playing a weekend side in the Premier League at the weekend, thinking that he'll be all right for the Champions League midweek. And he'll go to someone like Stoke and he may lose the game or he may draw the game. And I just think it's almost like a harsh reality check for him that he has this is life in the Premier League for everybody. It is a difficult league to play in, and I think maybe it might take him until next year, because obviously I know he does that great thing where he stays for a couple of years and then buggers off a bit like Mourinho. Be interested to see how well he develops over time, and I think maybe next year, given another summer to assemble a right squad, I think he'll be a lot better. But I can't see Man City getting anywhere near the title this season, especially with how they're playing at the minute and their attitude that they're showing week in, week out.
Isn't it amazing the different conversation we're having from 4 weeks ago to today? I think 4 weeks ago, they're sitting top of the table. They look like they're unbeatable, playing some great football, and we're like, wow, what a perfect match. But you're right. It may not be the absolute best league in the world, but it's definitely the most competitive league in the world. You really don't know what's going to happen on any given Sunday or Saturday. And that said, we're going to go to the Merseyside. We're going to do, of course, the Derby.
Don't do that again.
I'm really excited about this game, and I don't know why. I think this is Klopp's first time there. I think it's going to be awesome. I think coming off the Arsenal win, it's going to be exciting. We might see Sturridge again. He's not going to start, and then he might come up. Matip is back. Coutinho's still out, obviously. Ings is out. But it should still be very interesting. Tommy, we We ended with you. Let's start with you this time.
Oh, Everton Liverpool. Always a feisty affair. Although I think it's missed a bit of Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher over the last couple of years. I think they always added a bit of spice to it. But no, I think Everton come off the back of a really positive result at home against Arsenal. I think playing them at home this week against Liverpool that clearly lack production out of Coutinho. I think they miss him terribly. I think we saw that against West Ham that they didn't really have anybody to finish the chances that they created. And although the Matip's in there, I think Matip's great, but I just think whoever Matip plays with is just very shaky. I think what we saw from Lovren and Klavan, they weren't the greatest centre back pairing. Obviously conceding twice against us, but no, I think like I said, I think Everton weren't great, but I think any result against a top team is going to breathe some confidence into you. It's a Monday night game, TV game, all eyes on the match. I think Everton are going to win this one comfortably. I think 2-1. It would just be interesting to see if the key to Arsenal was Ozil. I think the key to that Liverpool side is if Adam Lallana is going to come to play, because he was sensational the other night, and all of a sudden, he seemed to be hitting that form that he first hit with Southampton.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, it just seems like the Southampton Adam Lallana that when he first came into the Premier League, when he was lining it up in that first season. And I think the same for Everton. It's interesting because I think, like we mentioned at the start about Ross Barkley, I just think the fact that he's been on the bench consistently the last few weeks, I think is almost giving him the motivation, maybe for a move away. I don't know, but I think deep down he loves Everton at heart. He's an Everton lad, and I think he just has a point to prove coming off the bench. And I thought he was fantastic against Arsenal, and they've been really missing his dynamism almost in the final third, because don't forget they were on a horrible run after such a great start to the season. They went on such a horrible run and he wasn't playing because he was benched. So I think when he's as dynamic and as forceful and as good as we know he can be, I think Everton are a different side. And shout out actually to Enner Valencia, who was also extremely good the other day in his first start for Everton. Obviously, I know Bolassi's out with an ACL injury, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I do think that they overspent for Bolassi and he's not as good as everyone makes out to be. So, yeah, no, Enner Valencia played well the other day, but I just think, like I said, Liverpool without Coutinho, although, yes, if Lallana shows up and Origi plays, it could be an interesting game, but I still see Everton 2-1.
Lallana and Origi, it's kind of weird. Like the only two teams they've really beaten in the last say 6 weeks have been Borough and Sunderland. They lost to Bournemouth. They drew with West Ham. They drew with Southampton, and the teams they're drawing against are struggling themselves. So yeah, they scored 3 against Borough, but everybody's scoring 3 against Borough these days. So I really feel like this could be like the first time in I think 5 or 6 years, or maybe even go back further, that Everton finally gets a win in this.
I think it's interesting to note, actually, I did see a stat the other day, which was about Divock Origi. He's got something like ridiculous, like 22 starts or something for Liverpool and 17 goals. Like, he's on absolute fire when he starts for them. So it'd be interesting to see how well he does, I think, away at Everton. I just think that it always, like, that sense of occasion at a Merseyside derby in the atmosphere, I just think it's an edge if you're at home for either team. And I do think that Everton will probably just have a bit too much for Liverpool on the night. So
give me a score.
2-1. 2-1 Everton.
Shorja, kicking it off to you.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, actually. 2-1 Everton. I think that Everton really played well against Arsenal. I think that's going to carry over into the derby, because it was a spirited home win. They're home again. The crowd's going to be there. Liverpool just don't look up to sorts at the moment, without Coutinho. I said this like 2 weeks ago that, missing Coutinho is going to be huge. We mentioned that it's a huge period for Daniel Sturridge, but it turns out it's a huge period for Divock Origi, because Origi's obviously playing well, and I think that Everton will win, and you guys basically covered all the bases. I mean, I'm left with not much to say, because
I'm curious about the Origi stat. That's crazy.
Yeah.
17 goals and 22 starts.
Something along those lines. It's ridiculous. Like, he scored the other day, didn't he, when he started? And he scored against us.
Yeah. He scored 2 or 3 goals since Coutinho's been out. But yeah, it's Liverpool. They just don't. I don't know. They don't seem like the Liverpool from a couple of weeks ago, or Coutinho-less Liverpool just is such a far drop from a side with him.
Do you remember who was one of Liverpool's losses this year? Of both our losses, do you remember who one of them was?
Burnley away.
Burnley.
Yeah. So I have like a really hard time buying into this because Burnley's been like they're not a bad side, but they're more of a punching bag, especially for these bigger clubs. And I don't know. I want to. Everton was supposed to be good, right? Weren't they supposed to be good like these last few years? And maybe they're finally getting it all together. I don't know. I feel like this is just going to end up in a draw. I feel like this is going to be another draw. They've in their last 12 they've drawn. I think they've only Liverpool's won 4, and the rest have all been draws. I just feel like this is just going to be suited for another draw. I think Lukaku will probably get on the board at least once. So I'm going to go 2-2 for this match.
I think that's a solid point. I just don't see a Liverpool win is what I want to get at. Because it's like I mentioned, Everton, they hadn't won in 10 games I think before they beat us. But it's a huge win for them. If they beat like someone like Hull or Burnley, it'd be like, okay, we got to win. Now we play Liverpool. Let's match that. But they beat Arsenal at home, and then they're gonna face another title challenger. So I think they're like, okay, so we know what we did against Arsenal. We just have to do that again. That might not be easy, but at least they have a blueprint for what to do. Obviously, they play different styles. Liverpool's much more pressing, but I think they have it in them. Plus, like the whole nature of the derby and everything. Emotions are going to run high. I think Ashley Williams is going to score again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Phil Jagielka usually does that for them.
That's true.
I have one of the best goals I've seen ever a couple years ago.
It's a good strike. It's a good strike.
It was from it was in the 94th minute. He was, oh man, it was insane. Yeah.
What was your score? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
I said 2-1 as well.
2-1. All right.
But yeah, I would. I'm kind of 50-50. I'm taking the gamble on the 2-1. I'm going to go with that. But I think that a draw is also very, very.
I feel like a lot of people are looking to this match to answer questions for both teams, but I feel like it's just going to create more questions for both teams for some reason. That I don't think you're going to get any solid answers. Like you said, Everton's lost 10 before. Even if they pull out a win, like what does that mean? I mean, they're at home. It could be, fueled by the derby. Many variables involved. I don't think it's really success for either team or the other. If Liverpool do 3-4, like they're absolutely demolishing the team, I think we're again. If not, then I think it just causes more questions for who they get to play in the future. That being said, to our favorite topic of all, we're going to East London. They're at home again. Our favorite lads and yours, West Ham United. Yeah, it looks like everybody that gets to play Hull gets an automatic win for the week. So this should be nice. All we have to do is kind of show up, right, Tom?
Yeah, you'd have thought, yeah. I was semi-confident going into the game against Burnley because I know how poor they are away from home. I think it's 1 point and 1 goal away all season, which bodes well for you, John, as well. And they truly are shocking. I think they just lack any production in front of goal, and I think that's why we came away with a win. I think there was a header from Sam Vokes that should have been buried. He missed it, went over the bar. I think they had so many opportunities to score. But they just don't have anybody at the end of it to finish for them, unfortunately. So we were so lucky the other night. I wasn't entirely pleased with how Slaven set up with 3-5-2 at home. I thought, we could have either done with another man in midfield, or we could have done with Andre Ayew starting. I think we mentioned it on the Hammers Chat review. Gio and Gonzo, myself, banging on about it for ages, that if you saw the game against Burnley, we were lumping balls up to Andy Carroll, but there was just nobody within 5 yards of him that was flicking it down, flicking it on. And I think if you're going to play Carroll, you need to have someone like Ayew. I think we saw Ayew last year at Swansea fed off of the fact that he had Bafétimbi Gomis to play off of, and he played so well. in behind him and off of him. And he doesn't fit the system playing as a wide man here at West Ham. I think he has to revert to the 4-2-3-1 or almost have somebody in that cam role, meaning probably we'd have to drop Noble and push Lanzini back to a centre mid role, because we saw against Tottenham he played so well in that centre mid role. It's not going to happen. I know it's not, but I think if you want to get the best out of the players and the best out of the system, I think that's what has to happen. But we also know that I think Slaven doesn't realise what his best selection is yet. I think he's just putting a lot of square pegs in round holes, because we're just not playing to the style and with the players that we've got. So it was so frustrating the other day watching us against Burnley, seeing how we were playing. And you could tell how frustrated Carroll was, because he was getting all these balls and he was knocking them down, and nobody could be asked to run onto them, neither Lanzini nor Payet. But we got a win at home, and that's the main thing. We're slugging out these 1-0 draws at the minute, 1-0 wins, sorry, which is, I guess, a result is the right thing. And like you said, they got a spanking from you at home. They don't offer anything. They've got nothing in creativity. The only thing they've got is Robert Snodgrass, and if they get a free kick in his territory, they might score. Other than that, they're off straight.
That make you nervous, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. From open play, I don't fear Hull at all. I think they are on the first fastway ticket back down to the Championship, and that's unfortunate for them. I think that it's genuinely not because the fans. Hull, I grew up near. Obviously, I'm from London, but I grew up in Yorkshire with my mum. And I was only 30, 40 minutes away from Hull. And I've been to quite a few Hull games. I've seen it. I know the fans. My friends are Hull fans. They're a fantastic organisation. However, they've got shocking owners in Assam Alam, or Alam Assam. I can't remember his name. And he has pretty much single-handedly destroyed the club. And that's what they're campaigning to get him out. And I think until they get new owners in who are willing to spend, who are willing to improve on the team, they're going to struggle. So unfortunately for them, it means I think they're on a one-way ticket back down to the Championship. And I don't think that we're going to see the best West Ham. I hope it is certainly an improvement on what we saw against Burnley, but I think it's going to be a comfortable 2-0 win. And if I'm going down south at 4 a.m. to watch us lose to Hull, I am going to be so angry.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Is it weird that, let's say you look at the last few weeks as a whole, right? Let's, trying to put it in perspective. Has it been the most elite, best football that West Ham could be playing? Absolutely not. No. But if you look at what they've had to play in their fixture, is it kind of acceptable? I mean, Man United, draw, right? Arsenal, short, disaster, 5-1. But Liverpool, draw. I mean, these are games you almost thought that they would lose and you weren't going to get any points. And I realized it wasn't pretty and I realized it was ugly, but you got 2 points.
Yeah, I think it is a double-edged sword, because you think if we'd have held on to that 90th minute lead at Spurs, we would have probably been absolutely fine, right. And unfortunately, we've as a team capitulated in that moment. But the fact that we did pick up 2 good draws away from home was the main thing. And I think the fact that we saw the other night, the fact that there was a lot of intensity shown. I think Martin Noble has, in the last couple of weeks, or maybe not the Arsenal game, but especially for the Liverpool game and the Burnley game, he's just showed a lot more fight, a lot more heart. And we've been almost missing that, because that was what made Noble stand out last year. Although he was a fantastic passer of the ball and he was adding goals to his game, he just showed heart and passion and fight like any good old East End London captain would do. And that's almost, like I said, that makes Mark stand out when he does that. And he did the same thing against Burnley. So you can clearly see from the reaction of the players midweek that they're still playing for Slaven. They're still fighting for Slaven. I think that's the best thing. I have said in the past, if they stop playing for Slaven, then that's it. Obviously, the manager has to go. But I think for the fact that they're still showing the fight and heart for Slaven, then they're fine. And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think... Yes, we're in a relegation fight. I get that at the minute, but I don't think we're anywhere near as bad as some of the teams are in and around us. And I think, like you said,
they're way better than 16 points. Absolutely way better than 16.
Yeah, of course. And I think hopefully, obviously, we win here and we go to Swansea and Leicester. The road is easier for us going into the new year. And I think there's literally only a couple of points separating us and about 10th place anyway. So you just get a couple of wins around the New Year period and you're right back up there. But this is the perfect game to just get a good, solid win under our belts. I think, like I said, a 2-0 comfortable home win. And, we're all looking brighter heading into the new year.
You're 4 wins away from being in ninth. Not 4 wins, I'm sorry, 4 points off from being in ninth. So it's really not like the disaster situation. And I think getting those 2 draws was absolutely absolutely crucial. If you didn't, you're down to 14 points and you're just above Swansea, I think, in the bottom 3. So yeah, they were vital. I mean, it was ugly football, but good teams beat the ones they should. Was it the best match against Spurs? Will and really just build on that and work on Hull? Absolutely. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be. I don't even think it's going to be 2-1. I think it's going to be 3-1. I'm hoping they put on a little bit of a clinic. They really want to start strong. Yeah, I just don't see anything other than really, really interesting play. And I don't mean to move away from the actual game itself, but the news with Zaza, everything else that's happening in the back end of the club, January coming up, this has to mean that they're going to be looking to improve, right? I mean, they're going to have to look for someone with a little more creativity in the midfield, as well as they absolutely need a right back. There's no doubt about that. So come January 1st, they should be looking, right? I mean, has that question's kind of been answered at this point?
I think it all determines and depends on whether the owners are willing to spend. Because I think if we offer, well, Gokhan Toure is done for the year. He's blown his knee out. Seen a doctor in Germany. He's done for the year. Zaza potentially on his way to Valencia for a switch. A couple of other players that aren't getting game time might be on their way out. And funnily enough, all the players that we signed in the summer, apparently Faguli is being offered out on loan. These are all players that we signed in the summer, which I think are below are going. These are players that were earmarked for transfer, and they've been shocking. And I think that is telling of how our panic buy summer went. I still believe that Andre Ayew was a panic buy because they almost offered to the fans that we were going to make a big top signing, Lacazette, Batshuayi, players like that. And it got to the end of the transfer window and it was like, and I think they just chucked 20 million at Andre Ayew and said, yeah, we'll have you because we were after him the year before before he went to Swansea. But I could be wrong because Ayew did look good in the last 10 minutes when he came on against Burnley. But I just think we're playing him in the wrong system at the minute. And I think he will do better off of Carroll. As for the signings, though, I just think it all depends on whether the board are just willing to dip their hands in their pocket and offer out the money. We need a new right back. We need another player in midfield. We need a striker. I mean, it's stuff that can be easily fixed. But like I said, if as long as the owners are willing to say, here's the money, Slaven, go ahead and get rid of the signings that they made, I think we'll be fine. But it's always a bit of hit and miss with our owners. So you never know.
Yeah, I think if Andy Carroll stays healthy, between Fletcher and everybody else, all the other options on the team, I think between Ayew, Fletcher, and Carroll, I don't think you need another striker. I really don't. I think it comes down to, and I know saying if Andy can stay healthy is crazy talk, but I think they need creativity, and I think they absolutely need at least a decent right back. Arbeloa clearly wasn't cutting it. And I don't like to be harsh on players who really only get 1 or 2 chances in
I do. Do you know what I do? I do not care for that guy because, like I said last week on the podcast, I think, or even I don't remember how much as well. He didn't have his shirt ready. Someone had to go down the tunnel for him. I mean, like I said, if it does not show you poor attitude, I don't know what does. And I don't give 2 tosses for someone that doesn't care or want to play for our club. And if that's the case with Arbeloa, then see you later, because we do not need players like that who clearly, and I know he's had a fantastic career. He's won stuff at Liverpool. He's won stuff at Real Madrid. That's all well and good. You came here to do a job. You've not done that. There's the door if that's the way you're going to act. So it's quite immature for someone who's quite a mature and, pro veteran, should I say. So yeah.
Strong words from Tommy. I love it. Georgia.
Yeah. What more can I say? I don't know. I think again, you guys covered everything.
Sorry.
I know.
Oh, it's fine. It's like me with Arsenal. Yeah, I think I will echo John's thoughts and say that a right back is probably one of the most important things that you guys can bring in. I think you guys are fine with Andy Carroll. Like, fingers crossed that he stays healthy. But with Ayew, I think that playing Ayew at right wing, maybe better suited for his capabilities. If not, I think him at striker is fine. Just slot in Mikel Antonio or push him back to right back. I don't know. It's worked in the past. So until I can see John shaking his head. until you get it right back, I think Mikel Antonio is probably your best bet, right? Because Sam
No. Honestly, if you've watched him every week get beaten by pretty much every left mid because he's too far forward, you get sick of it.
I told you they should fine him like $5,000, $5,000 every time he goes to the halfway line.
But this is the question you ask: like, how have Slaven and the owners not seen that we needed a proper first team right back?
Who's making the decisions, you think? Who's bringing in the summer signings? Is it like Slaven go, oh, that guy looks good, and then the board kind of decides yes or no? Or
well, I think at the end of the day, David Gold has got more say in the transfers than David Sullivan has more say in the transfers than David Gold. I think Slaven obviously earmarks people that he wants. Well, I think he's got scouts. For the life of me, I can't remember the scouts' names. I'll probably get lambasted for people that I don't know who think I should know. I don't know if it's Tony Henry or something like that, but there's a few scouts in and around the club that obviously earmark players as well. And sometimes they come good, like, picking up Payet and Lanzini, absolute gems, for such a cheap price as well. And the likes of Cresswell, allowing them to come through and produce. But last summer, maybe it's just that I'm hoping, fingers crossed, going into next summer, that it was just a one-off and it wasn't, the players that we were earmarked was just a one-off bad summer, and the policy will be changed next time round. But I mean, I'm more for going down into the lower leagues and finding a talent and somebody that actually wants to play for you, rather than spending money and get someone from abroad that doesn't. So the whole board, West Ham as a whole, needs a little rethink over the summer, but that's another video in itself, so I'm not going to get into that.
I think they should keep just taking chances on random South American players. I don't know. That just seems to be working for them a little bit.
Lanzini, one, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's like the only one. And Tevez. But
Lanzini came out of like the Middle East, didn't he?
Yeah, but he was from what's that? River Plate. Yeah.
But he was playing at like Doha or like Qatar or some Al Ali, I think.
Yeah.
And then
but how he was, I think at the same time he was being scouted by Dortmund as well, but for some reason chose to come here and flourish. But other than Carlos Tevez and you've seen the other South American we got this summer, Jonathan Calleri, I won't criticize him, but he's not had the opportunity to flourish, I don't think.
I wrote 3,000 words on him, trust me. So.
I didn't think he didn't help himself by literally missing an open goal and one-on-ones about 3 or 4 times. I think that was just enough for Slaven to say enough's enough. Yeah. So, but yeah,
I just feel like Slaven, I think he's getting the rough end of the stick, especially with the transfers. And what kind of clues me into him being safe, or who's making the decisions, if the board is sticking with him and throwing their full support behind him, even after almost every single summer signing has failed, I'm kind of wondering, because there's sometimes the sporting director or whoever are looking to make these decisions. I feel like he doesn't have the full autonomy that maybe some people think he might, at least when it comes to transfers. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. So who knows? I don't know. As far as scores go, I think we all glossed over it. At least Shorja, I know I didn't get yours.
I'm going to go with 2-0 West Ham.
All right. I think I said 3-0, and then Tom, you said 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
Beauty. All right. Well, hopefully it's an early Boxing Day and they could 1-2 Hull City. That was a really good segue, by the way. Yeah, that's it from us this week. We're down to Charlie, but next week we're going to have him back. And thank you so much for watching.